Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on some Bunkai and some history stuff, so stick around. First off, make sure you guys have done all the warm-ups. Also, make sure that while you're on Dojo login that you get your voting in. Alright, I'll make sure that's an announcement later, but vote for your t-shirt. So we're going to start today off with Naihanchi. We're going to do some Bunkai for Naihanchi. Move on to some self-defense. I got a little bit of history stuff for you, and that should round out the day. All right, so for Naihanchi, nice and easy. We'll do the kata once. We'll talk through the Bunkai. Okay, so find yourself a spot. Let's get started. Yasmin, Kyotsuke, Rei, Naihanchi. So right off the bat, we're going to put our feet together and squat down. Okay, this is protecting our groin. When I'm fighting this kata, it's in an alleyway. So the alleyway is nice and thin. I want to make sure that my knees and my groin stay protected. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to the left. I'm going to step across and step out into my Naihanchi stance. In my Naihanchi stance, my toes are pointing towards each other and my knees are bent with my hips pulled forward. This is preventing a kick to the side from hurting my knees. If somebody kicks me, my knees will just bend instead of breaking. If my feet point forward, they'll just break because they can't go anywhere. Okay? So the Naihanchi stance, the design of the stance is to protect my knees. So right off the bat, somebody's throwing a punch. So I'm going to roots block over the top, grab onto them, elbow strike. So either breaking them or if it's their hand, if I catch their hand, I catch their hand and I can break their wrist. Here, look, avoid the sweep. I'm going to step down block and stab. So this one, if they're coming in, like with the front kick, I'm going to smash this down block so that the kick misses behind me and come in with the stab as they're falling forward. Now I could either be kicking the same person or a different person here. So if I cross over and I do this kick, I'm either kicking the back leg, the further leg of the first person, or I'm kicking down into the first leg of a second person. And it just depends on which Bunkai you want to listen to for that one. Punch is going to come into my face. So from here, when I stepped over, there's like a T in the alleyway or a door or something to that effect. They're going to try to punch my face. So I'm going to open hand block here. Hammer fist to they're coming into knee strike. So I'm going to smash the inside of their leg right above their kneecap, which feels awesome. That kind of gets them to put their, they're doing a knee smash, you smash it back down, it kind of gets them to lean forward. So I'm going to take advantage of that and do my elbow uppercut and come back. So I smash their chin up. I'm going to hit down with that nose bob, right? So elbow, nose bob to break their nose. All right, that guy is pretty much done. I'm going to look to the right side, avoid the sweep. So this is probably, at this point, I probably got two different people here, right? I'm block this guy, like shove his hand into the wall, gives me half a second. I see this guy over here. I do my hammer fist right to his solar plex. And this guy, when he comes back, he recovers, so he tries to punch again. So I avoid the sweep. These could be either knee kicks, actual sweeps, or just like a front kick. So I'm getting my foot out of the way. We call it an avoid the sweep, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing that's good for. So they're attacking my leg, so I get it out of the way. I bring both my hands over and double punch. This one stays about here because what I'm doing is I'm catching his punch on the side of my punch here. And the other one's here as a strike to the solar plex. So for this is really the only time in Isshin Ryu that we block force with force, right? Straight on, a punch with a punch. It's mainly to show that we can do it, we just don't like doing it. Also, remember that Naihanchi comes from Shorin Ryu. So this is one of the things that survived through the kata, through its transition into Isshin Ryu. Then we come right back into the other side. So we're going to come in a roots block, same thing. We're either grabbing their arm and breaking their shoulder or ribs, or we're grabbing their wrist and taking them down to the ground. Look, avoid the sweep, down block stab, step across, kicking one of the two people block and punch to my face, a knee smash to my groin, coming up with an elbow up to the chin, nose bomb, look, avoid sweep, side block, and I keep my hand under my ribs here as a guard, right? So in case I'm trying to fight two people at once, so I don't get a lot of time to like look and evaluate what it is that they're doing. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to keep my hands here in front of my rib cage because that's really the target. This hand's up here protecting everything else, but I'm protecting pretty much my entire rib cage like this, just because I don't have time to see what it is he's doing. Come back, hammer fist here, and then real quick, make sure I get back into my Naihanchi stance, double punch. Now, as far as Naihanchi goes, technically there are 3 versions of Naihanchi kata in Shorin Ryu. We learned the second, or what's closest to the second version of that. Or I'm sorry, the first. Naihanchi Shodan. Naihanchi Shodan's the first version. That's the one that what we learned is closest to. So, but there's 2 other versions. The katas are all similar but different. You can tell if you watched any of the 3 of them. If you've seen Naihanchi or if you've done Naihanchi, you'd be able to tell that it was supposed to be Naihanchi, but you would get really lost trying to follow along with it. Part of that is because there's more than one part to Naihanchi. One of the cool things, though, because it is a Shorin Ryu kata and because it's as old as it is and as popular as it is for different styles to pick up on, you know, you'll see Naihanchi in Shotokan, you'll see Naihanchi in Shorin Ryu, and the different branches of each of those. Because it is as old as it is, there are huge variations and selection to the Bunkai for this kata. Now, what I just kind of went through was the official one that Isshin Ryu talks about. What that doesn't mean is that that's the only moves that these techniques can be used for or against. Really, the imagination is the only limit. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube. I'll link one in the description to this video just to show you guys that if you want to spend a half hour doing Bunkai for the first 3 moves of this kata, like, you can do that. And that's a half hour of seeing 9 different variations and not getting to practice any of them because you don't have time. You know, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff for this kata. So we're going to do it one more time. This time you're going to stay with me. If you're familiar with this kata, if you're above an orange belt, do it once with me. Maybe do it 2 more times on your own. If you've never done this kata before, at least stay with me one more time. Okay? Now, this is our orange belt kata. The reason that we learn it in this order, honestly, is because my teachers taught it to me in this order. But it kind of works out because you have to remember all your old katas as you're going up the line. So Seisan and Seiyunchin are long katas. And it's really easy when you start learning Seiyunchin to forget about Seisan. And when you start learning Naihanchi, to forget the other 2. So what orange belt does is it gives you kind of like this rest area to make sure that you still have your old 2 katas while learning an easy 3rd one before you move on. Because Wansu and Shinto, your advanced orange belt kata and your green belt kata, are actually quite difficult. So we're going to do this one more time. Stay with me. Yasumi. Kyotsuke. Right. Naihanchi. Haji. Step across. Our roots block. Elbow. Chain. Look. Avoid the sweep. Down block stab. Step across and kick. Set. You're going to block your face. Block your groin. Elbow uppercut. Nose bow. Look, avoid the sweep, side block. Look, avoid the sweep, hammer fist. Look, avoid the sweep, chamber, double punch. Same thing, our roots block, elbow chamber. Look over your left shoulder this time, avoid the sweep, down block stab. Make sure you're turning your whole head to look. Don't just look out of the side of your eyes. All right, turn your head to look. Step across and kick. Block your face, block your groin. Elbow uppercut, nose bow. Look to the left, avoid the sweep, side block. Look to the right, avoid the sweep, hammer fist, Look to the left. Avoid the sweep. Chamber in the middle. Double punch. If you get a chance, watch the video that I'm linking below so that you can kind of get a feel for some extra bunkai. If you've done this kata a bunch of times, do it with me. Try to keep my pace a little bit. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is some self-defense. So stick around and we're going to get to that. Next thing we're going to do is some self-defense moves. I got Amanda here with me. So we're going to do some defense against some two-handed grabs. So the first one we're going to do is nice and easy. Most of you guys have seen this one before. It's our macaroni noodle one. So if she grabs with two hands and with her thumbs up, there we go. What I'm going to do is come over the top, in between, catch my hands together, and then push across. Now when I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I don't lace my fingers together like this. If I lace them together, I can't get them apart very fast. So I want to grab them like steak mittens, big mittens, like this. Okay? So she grabs, right? I'm going to come over the top, underneath, catch my hands together, and push across. If you got a partner that you're working with, whether it's a family member or a brother, sister, or somebody else who does karate, practice both directions. Let them practice it and you practice it. Try putting your other hand over. Do it back and forth about 10 times each. Okay? Next one we're going to do is the pinky grab. So this time she's going to grab here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach over the top. I'm going to look for the pinky. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my thumb right on the back of her middle finger knuckle. Okay? Grab the pinky and I'm going to pull it off to roll it over. Now, if you're a kid and you're working on this, what I want to do is just put my hands on my thumbs on the back of her two pointer fingers. I'm going to push her fingers towards her shoulder. If you're an adult and you're working on this, what you really want to do is just roll the whole hand over with your chest and then give a little bow. You're going to do the same thing, but the difference is if they're bigger and stronger than you, you can still get this to work if you're grabbing it and bowing with your whole chest. If I'm just doing it with my thumbs, I might be in the right spot, but if they're my size, chances are I'm not going to get it to work. Okay? So again, when she grabs on, I'm going to come over the top. I'm going to roll with the whole hand, give it a little bow, or grab the pinky to pull it off, put my thumbs right on the back of her top two knuckles, and push towards her shoulder. If that one's not enough for you, if somebody's a lot bigger than you, you can give them a quick front kick to the knee to kind of get them to catch the drift. Okay? Same thing. So with that one, make sure that you don't crank on their wrist as hard as you can, right? Your partner is your partner, so you want them to stick around and you want them to keep working with you. So make sure you're not breaking them in half. Practice this back and forth a couple times on each side, probably about 10, and we'll have one more for you. Okay, so for the last one, it's going to be a double hand grab too. She's going to grab with two hands. This time, instead of reaching all the way over, I'm going to reach the same side. Now for kids, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find their thumb, I'm going to pull their thumb off. I'm going to put my fingers in the same spot we just had, except this time, now that it's like she's looking in a mirror, I'm going to twist her hand towards the outside. Okay? What I want is I want this twisting here and here. Okay? So I'm going to keep her elbow in about a 90-degree angle and push it out towards the corner. Okay? So I'm going to use both hands to do that. So one more time for you guys. I'm going to grab the thumb, stick my thumb on the back of her hand here, roll it off, and push out here. Adults, if you're a little bit stronger, again, if you got somebody who's big and strong, all I'm going to do is just crush the whole hand with me, okay? So if they're grabbing onto my shirt, or my collar, my jacket, whatever, I'm grabbing the whole hand and just crushing it in as hard as I can. All I want is their palm turned out. So if they can keep grabbing this as hard as they want, it's not changing what I'm doing. I'm just crushing it this way. Then I'm going to basically take a huge bow and try to get my my head to their knee height. So when I bow down as fast as I can, I'm going right past their shoulder, like a 45-degree angle right past their shoulder. I'm going to do that hard, I'm going to do that fast, and it's probably going to either dislocate their shoulder or they're going to fall on their back. If they fall on their back, I'm in a great spot because they're on the ground and I'm not. So I can either choose to fall on them to cause a little bit more damage, or I can just hit them once so I can get up. Okay? Let your partner's size dictate exactly how much you need to do. But again, remember, we're doing this to learn, so don't kill your partner. So one more time. For the kids, thumb on the back, roll it off, push towards the outside corner. For the adults, crush the whole thing in, bring it this way, and then take a big bow as fast as you can. All right. We'll do one last one. This one's in case they're a lot bigger than you, and you can't necessarily move them around. So if we were doing this the opposite way, this is probably what she would want to do to me. But this is going to be nice and quick. She grabs with two hands. All it's going to be is I'm going to take my half fist, punch to the throat, come across either with a forearm to get her elbows to bend, or a nice punch to the inside of the arm, right in that notch between your bicep and your tricep, right on that nerve. If you poke in there and you can feel it in your fingertips start going numb, that's where you want to go, okay? If I punch that, she's probably not grabbing me too hard. And then, so it's going to be a half fist, punch across, or a forearm across, and then a quick kick to the shins. That's going to get them loosened up quite a bit real fast for you to either shove them away or just do that kick and kick their legs out from under them, okay? Again, when you're doing this, don't kick your partner, all right? Throw your kick off to the side, stop your half fist short. Make sure, talk with your partner, make sure you got good targets, okay? So if I'm working with Amanda here, all right, I want to make sure that I'm punching, I can make contact, I'm just not hitting her, right? I can make contact to make sure that, do you feel the tinglies in your fingers? Yes, perfect, all right. And do your kick off to the side. Make sure that you're getting good targets and still working through the whole technique, but not putting necessarily the power behind it that you would use to hurt someone, all right? So bow. All right, good job, everybody. So the other thing I want to talk about today is go over a little bit of history about our style and the styles that created our style. So Isshin Ryu was created in the 50s. The exact date has been argued about a couple times, but in the late 50s, Master Shimabuku, after studying with his teachers for the length of time that he did, decided that he was going to create his own style. Part of the interesting part, at least for me, is to look at the things that he changed as he transitioned from, Shorin-ryu, Gojo-ryu, weapons and such, to training in Isshin-ryu and calling it Isshin-ryu. So one of the things that I've done, and part of the reason I have the library that I do, is I have books from other styles that came into Isshin-ryu. So this one is a Shorin-ryu book. This is actually Chodoku Kion's lineage of Shorin-ryu. So Chodoku Kion also taught Master Shimabuku. Now, one of the cool things about this book is it talks about the history of Chodoku Kion's style and where it came from, and the things for that. So one of the things that this talks about is Sokan Matsumura. Sokan Matsumura was Chodoku Kion's sensei, basically. So if we talk about lineage and how things go, so Chodoku Kion was taught by Sokan Matsumura. So Sokan Matsumura taught Chodoku Kion. Chodoku Kion taught Tatsuo Shimabuku. Tatsuo Shimabuku taught Angi Uezu. Angi Uezu taught Kevin Murray. Kevin Murray taught Barbara Ron Kaiser. Barbara Ron Kaiser taught me, and now I'm teaching you guys. So this is how we walk back, in our lineage, our karate lineage, to go back and see where it all came from. So one of the things that I'm going to read this chunk right here, because I think it's kind of cool to know about your history and where our stuff came from. It's also important if you want to once you get up in your rank and you want to start going back and trying to pick up like little hints about, what was Master Shimabuku thinking. Sometimes you have to go even farther back to figure out why things were the way they were before Master Shimabuku even learned it. So Sokan Matsumura was born in Yamagawa village of Shuri, which is a province of Okinawa. Matsumura studied karate as a young man from Todei Sakagawa, who spent his life serving the king as a bodyguard and chief instructor of martial arts for the royal family. Matsumura spent 5 years studying with Sakagawa prior to his death in 1850. As a young man, Matsumura demonstrated an unusual talent in the martial arts. Matsumura's family was not part of the aristocratic society, but he was given the opportunity to study with Sakagawa at an early age due to his natural athletic abilities. Matsumura was 19 years old when Sakagawa died. He went on to the security service of the Ryukyu Kingdom, which is what Okinawans called themselves before they were taken over by Japan. Due to his martial arts skill developed by Sakagawa, he received the title Chikudan Pichin, or warrior class, the Ryukyu caste system. So it's equivalent to samurai, except Okinawans are different than Japanese. Matsumura eventually became the chief martial arts instructor and bodyguard for the last three kings of Okinawa, Shoko, Sho-Ifu, and Sho-Tai. Matsumura received the title of Bushi due to his extraordinary martial arts skill and extensive training in China and Japan. Matsumura was the last of the Okinawan warrior class, so like the last generation. Matsumura is known to have visited Fuzhou, which is in China, and to have brought a copy of the Bubishi back to Okinawa. The Bubishi does not contain direct references to the term Shorin-ryu and Shorei-ryu, but it does mention Shorei-ji, or the Shorei Temple, and Shorei-jinji, or the Shaolin Temple. Anko Itotsu, one of his students, in his efforts to provide an acceptable background to a virtually unknown fighting system for the purpose of gaining acceptance by the Japanese Ministry of Education, created the lineage to Shorei and Shorin. Funakoshi, the guy who created Shotokan Karate, also made an unclear and possibly incorrect reference to Shorei and Shorin in his book Karate Do Kyohan. The Bubishi references may have been part of romanticizing the warrior monks of the Shaolin Temple. Basically what this is saying is that in an effort to get people to accept, the Japanese specifically, to accept Okinawan martial arts, they tied it to the Shaolin temples in China, which even at that time was famous for its martial arts. But what this is saying is that it's not necessarily true. Although Shorin-ryu, in the Japanese pronunciation, Shorin, sounds like Shaolin, that might have been done on purpose just to kind of piggyback on the reputation. However, our style of karate does, Fuzhou province in China, does have ties to white crane boxing, which is very similar, if you look at it, to our style of karate, and it has Seisan kata and a couple other notable kata in it, if you look at it. Matsumura retired in 1879 when the kingdom was abolished by the Meiji government of Japan. He was given residence at the famous Shinkaiken, or Palace Garden, where he gave instruction to, among others, Anko Asato, Anko Itotsu, Gichin Funakoshi, and Shoto Kiyan. Ultimately, these four men set the path to the future generation of Okinawan Shorin-ryu, which has spread around the world. Matsumura did not use the term Shorin-ryu, but may have had a strong influence on the choice of Shorin-ryu to replace Suedi and Shurite. As I've said before, the name of your style was generally the town that you lived in, because it was the style of the area, not necessarily you personally, which would be Shurite for Chotokukian. Matsumura was involved in developing the curriculum and structure for the introduction of Ti, or what they used to call karate before it was empty hand, it was just hand, to the Okinawan public schools. He provided Itotsu and Funakoshi the foundation of what was to become modern Okinawan karate. The precepts Matsumura codified were the forerunner of those adopted in Japan. Gichin Funakoshi was a student of Matsumura, brought karate to mainland Japan. Mainland Japan thought of Okinawans as kind of like hillbillies, not very educated, a lower class type of person, like a third world kind of country, when in a time where everybody would be considered third world now. So Gichin Funakoshi, what he did was he took the stuff that he had and modified it and modernized it so that he could basically sell it to the mainland Japan's school system so that they would introduce karate as part of tradition and part of the school system, which is why you hear karate actually pronounced two ways. You have karate, which is the Okinawan pronunciation, and then you have karate, which is the Japanese pronunciation. They both mean the same thing, but it kind of changes depending on where it's from. It's just one of those kind of cool things. For people who are interested, I can get you a whole list of books. This particular one is, I don't think it's actually in print. This one is a limited edition and it's numbered and signed. So I'm not quite sure how many they actually made, or if this has been re-released after, the copy that I have. But if you're interested in it, I'll make sure that you can see. It's Shorin Ryu Seibuken Kion's Karate by Shimabukuro and Smith. It's not Tatsuo Shimabuku. They're different people. It's a different family name. So if you're interested in that. And seeing as you sat through my whole story time with Sensei Steve, it's time for this week's Karate Challenge. So this week's Karate Challenge is going to be nice and easy, sort of. What I want you to do is I need the first two people to send me a picture of them doing a handstand in their gi. Okay, so that's what I want to see. I want to see pictures, people in handstands with their gi. You want to do something fun in addition to that, that's fine. Now there's 3 ways that you can enter. I'm going to look at timestamps, okay, to make sure who's the first 2 people to do this. You can send it to me as a text message to the karate school's phone number, okay? So the 0121 phone number that's on the karate school's website. You can send it to that. dojo@shiagido.com. You can send it to that as a picture, or you can tag it in our Facebook page and do a visitor post and post a picture of you doing a handstand with the time and date on it in the description. All right. So those are the 3 ways. Text it to me at the dojo phone number, the 012090121 phone number. You can send it as an email to the dojo@shiagido.com email address, or put it up on Facebook as a visitor post to our Shiagido page. Whichever of the 3 of them you choose, make sure you put the time and date that you're putting the picture up there, because this is obviously, Wednesday afternoon. So when you're doing this, so your options are text it to me at the 2090121 phone number. You can email it to me at dojo@shiagido.com, or you can post it to Facebook as a visitor post on our page. But make sure whichever one of those you do, you take the time and the date that the picture was taken, and you put it in the description or the subject line or whatever so that it gets to me. The first 2 pictures that I see or receive or whatever, and I'm going to check timestamps to make sure that actually the first 2 that made it to me are going to get focus mitts. So I will reach out to you. I've got everybody's phone number. I'll reach out to you and confirm the place that I can drop it off, and we'll go from there. So along with that, we're going to do a couple quick announcements. The t-shirt contest is up. Check your dojo login so that you can see the t-shirt pictures, and then the Survey Monkey survey at the bottom is how you vote. Okay, you can do more than 1 vote per household, per device, whatever, but you can only do 1 vote will count for each person. So if you change your mind and you need to vote a second time, that's the last vote is the only one that I'm counting. So just keep that in mind. Friday, we're going to do our Zoom class. We're going to try that out, give it a shot. Kids class is going to be from 5 o'clock to 5:40, and the adult class is going to be from 5:50 to 6:30. Zoom limits us to 40-minute classes, so I'm putting warm-ups on the page on Thursdays, so you know what you got to do. Make sure you're warmed up and stretched out so that when we start class, we can get right into it. We have the most amount of time so that we can get working together. Remember, don't forget to be sending me those videos of you doing your kata so that I can take a look at them. I can give you some feedback, and I can see if you're ready for a stripe or a belt. And then obviously the Focus Mitt giveaway. If you win it, then you can only win it once. I don't have a ton of focus mints, and I don't want to just hand 20 focus mints to the same person. But if you're enjoying what you do, or you're enjoying doing the challenge, feel free to enter more than one time. Just understand that you're only going to win once, even if you get it back to me first. All right, with that, that's all I've got. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a great day. You are dismissed. Us.